Hello fellow critics, welcome back to The Alley, the show that goes Super Saiyan and overthinking fictional media. Something has been bothering me about the Dragon Ball Z universe. Even more than that time they turned Goku back into a little kid. Just why? No, that sucked, but this goes way further back. Back to the beginning, when turtle hermits and tournaments were talk of the town. This is something I haven't heard anyone else speak about. There are dozens of characters we've been introduced to over the years, such as the righteous but thick-headed Goku, the eternally angry but fiercely loyal Vegeta, the consistently defeated Yamcha, but none have been quite as enigmatic as Bulma. She is as skilled at troubleshooting as she is at troublemaking, and a first anime crush for thousands of fans. No shame, if you found yourself attracted to her quirky blend of stubborn determination and brazen promiscuity, go ahead and leave a little winky face in the comments. It'll be like our little code. You wouldn't be at fault to be drawn to her feminine wiles, because that is exactly how she is intended to be. It's painfully obvious from the outfits they stick her in to the way she carries herself with her deceptive DTF facade. She weaponizes her sexuality like an empty handgun. She never has to use it, and rarely does, but she's completely willing to wave it around like a matador confusing a bull. Ha! Red flags. She actively denies people, proving it is her body and she is no tool. Maybe this act worked a little too well. Not everyone knows that beneath that amorous ditzy smile hides a calculating genius far beyond most other characters' comprehension. She continues to outpace her peers with accomplishments spanning from repairing and flying an alien spacecraft at just 5 years old. Building the Dragon Radar, which is basically a metal detector for exotic material, and in the future she builds a friggin' time machine. Not to mention that she is the first character that we see collecting the Dragon Balls, let alone knowing anything about these literal legends when so many people have no information on them. Right there, we have a resume that would bring Stephen Hawking to tears. And that is barely scratching the surface of today's episode. Today, we're exposing Bulma. No, not like that. As the mastermind she truly is. Once I show you this, it cannot be unseen. Let's take a look at the world around them real quick. We see what mostly appears to be about 80s technology, from the TVs to the cars to the weapons. I mean, late 90s at best, right? Cool. So looking at this and looking over the timeline, Dragon Ball Z is set in age 761 and Dragon Ball in age 749. This time era contains the aforementioned tech. Not too much different between the two really, except for one big company, Capsule Corp. Capsule Corp is literally decades ahead of the rest of the world. The only people that come even close are the Red Ribbon Army, or Red Pharmaceuticals. Why do all bad guys use pharmaceutical companies to hide their nefarious deeds? They do have far inferior tech though, focusing mostly on military weapons. Although as time goes on, they do start messing around with synthetic life forms and body modifications. They're basically your family fun time fascists, like Hogan's Heroes. Capsule Corp is said to be established in the age 712, with its namesake Hoi Poi or Dynacaps being invented and then subsequently dominating the market, as you could imagine. But something doesn't add up, because C6, the robot that Gohan encounters in the episode The Strangest Robot, the one trapped in the ruins, is said to have been there since the year 681. The episode notes that Gohan recognizes the Capsule Corp logo and symbol, but he is dated to be there 30 years before the conception of Capsule Corp. The alleged conception. It's always weird to me when numbers tell different stories. Quick side note on that, C6 has clearly achieved sentience. It has a range of emotions that Gohan witnesses kind of rapid fire. He feels annoyed with Gohan asking so many things. He feels anxiety and fear when he thinks that he's alone again. He feels relief upon hearing Gohan's voice. He feels sympathy at the thought that Gohan might also be trapped here. He feels flattered when Gohan praises him, and he feels pride when he tells him, "I'll make it out of here on my own." Those two inventions, the Dynacaps and Sentient C6, are concepts that we are just beginning to comprehend now with our mostly superior technology. He reminds me of this awesome robot toy from the 90s named 2XL from Tiger Electronics. He came with this awesome cassette full of fun games, but what really set him apart was his personality. He would crack little jokes and seem to remember things you told him. I had one growing up and I legit remember playing with him for days. He was my best friend for a long time. Probably why I got such a thing for GLaDOS now. Anyone else get a nostalgia rush seeing his happy flashing little eyes? 2XL was a monumental toy, the first smart toy, and it won a lot of awards. C6 is basically this guy with real personality. They even look vaguely similar. Now imagine if 2XL came out 100 years ago. Yeah, that's the level of culture shock that Dr. Brief and the clan bring to his world. A near superhuman level of intelligence. A very suspiciously inhuman intelligence. That's right, call a meeting, cause I'm saying there's an imposter among us. Bulma isn't human. No, fellow critics, I'm saying that Dr. Briefs and Bulma are not humans like we've been led to believe. They are Tuffles. Dr. Brief caught us with our pants down. If you didn't audibly gasp yet, you probably don't know much, if anything, about the Tuffles. They're not really main stage characters anymore, at least not publicly. If you did recognize them, you're cool. Hit the subscribe button so we can hang out more. The long and short of them is, they're a race that lived alongside the Saiyans. Most accounts paint the Saiyans as Badlands-dwelling savages and the Tuffles as these super intellectual geniuses who built booming metropolises and amazing technology beyond your dreams. One-way brawn and one-way brains. Until one day, Bronze got mad and started a war with Brains, then turned into full moon monkey monster maniacs, pulverizing the species into literal extinction. That whole ordeal happened between the age 720 and 730. It's weird, the show makes it seem like it's this traumatic event from hundreds of years ago when it literally happened less than 20 years before the start of Dragon Ball. I wonder if there's any real-world examples of similar events being swept under the rug. Bonus points if you can think of one happening in a similar time frame. My theory is they escaped before the worst of it came. Dr. Reef began crafting his plan and fled, escaping to Earth, for reasons that I'll explain to you. We have the who and the what. Let's finish this list. The why of the matter is simple. Survival. It's not a stretch that an advanced species would study astronomy and the like, at the very least, to make an almanac for their farmers. Plus, I can totally see Bulma giving tarot readings and love advice based on your zodiac sign. Bulma's sign is Gemini, by the way. Knowing astronomy and hearing the legends, at least one Tuffle had to predict the full moon coming. And I'm saying that Dr. Brief is that Tuffle. Where would he go? What out-of-the-way, inconsequential planet could he possibly go to? Why not a planet with literal dog people, little blue booger men running around and nobody batting an eye about it? The planet is even run by a blue dog man named King Furry. It's the melting pot planet of opportunity, baby! DBZ Earth is what America was supposed to be, especially with the dinosaurs. Of course, he'd fit right in there. Not even mentioning how weirdly similar humans and Tuffles are in physical appearance. How would he get there and not be seen doing so, because surely a pursuit would cost him his life, right? He had to be fast and furious. But the good doctor already had a plan. Online sources confirm that Dr. Brief has built ships capable of faster-than-light travel. We can confirm this by using estimations in the show and comparing them to real-world objects. Fortunately, when I thought of this and started doing research, I discovered that I'm not the only person who's interested in how fast fictional spaceships can go and how far away fictional planets are. Which ended up making my work a lot easier, so thank you, fellow nerds. So, if we use the speed of light as a base and travel from here to Jupiter, moving at the speed of light, it'll take approximately 33 minutes. And Jupiter not only exists in the DBZ universe, but they traveled by it in a test flight of Kami's ship. You know that old one that Kami went to Earth in days ago? That trip to Jupiter took less than 10 seconds. So according to those online sources that did the math, that is much faster than the speed of light, if the comparison wasn't clear enough for you. We can also figure out from Earth dynamic when Bulma states that they could make it there in about a month. So the ship travels about 16 to 30 light years at that pace and makes it there in about a month. We can put that number next to how long it takes similar ships to get there, like the one Dr. Briefs made. That ship got to Namek in 6 days. You know, when Goku had to show up to Namek and save his friends from ending up like Yamcha? So that's roughly 5 times faster than the other ship, if I'm doing my easy numbers right. Making that vessel ridiculously fast. And keep in mind, he made that ship out of scraps from a ship that a Saiyan landed in, which was probably taken from the Tuffles in the first place. Just imagine what he could do in his own lab with his own stuff and technology as advanced as the Tuffles. I would say he can make a much better ship and have the technical know-how to build one later on for Goku out of literal garbage without breaking a sweat. Being strangely familiar with interplanetary tech does seem odd to me. Vegeta and Nappa were off goofing around for Frieza, probably taking some nearby planet's lunch money. I would imagine that Frieza probably kept them near their blown up home planet, just, you know, to put salt in the wounds, because that's the kind of guy he is. And remember, when Vegeta and Nappa headed to Earth, it took them a year, so pretty far away. No! Dr. Briefs likely built that ship capable of faster than light travel for just this situation. I like to think that its maiden voyage was for interstellar evac, which would actually play into the next part pretty well. The when of it all seems to be one of the more thinkier bits. As I mentioned earlier, Capsule Corps was founded in the age 712. C6 shows up in those ruins in 681. So what I'm thinking is we just established Earth and Planet Vegeta pretty far away, right? Just think about how many episodes it took Vegeta's ship to get there. No! So what I'm saying is when Dr. Briefs hops into his ship capable of faster than light speed travel, he ends up hitting light speed or further and ends up moving through time, going backwards to, let's say, age 675. I mean, it only took Doc Brown going 88 in a DeLorean for him to move backward in time. Most people theorize that the faster you go, the more time dilates, allowing you to theoretically move through time upon reaching the appropriate speeds. Since we don't know his age at the time, or the general lifespan of Tuffles, he can go right ahead living his life from there. If you don't like those odds, we could just say he wished himself younger or to have extended life from the dragon. It is pretty peculiar he does not have a canon birthday. They have a listed birthday for Bandages the freaking Mummy. Yeah, you remember that guy? Even he has recorded creation, but not Dr. Brief? How did nobody catch on, you ask? I mean, it's clear his intellect surpasses the rest of the planet. Save for Bulma. I mean, just looking at their technology and how fast they seem to comprehend things that should be completely foreign to them. Like the Scouters. Fun fact, you know who created the Scouters? The Tuffles. They used them for hunting. Engineers from the Saiyans, as well as Frieza's own, adapted them for combat. Bulma not only figures them out, but fixes the Scouter that Raditz destroyed in less than 24 hours.
I haven't pulled an all-nighter since I got out of college. Let's see.
Interesting ability to once again innately comprehend what should be completely foreign technology, Bulma. It is weirdly similar tech to the energy sensing capabilities of the Dragon Radar. So why is no one, not even Jocko, the amazing intergalactic policeman, figured out who they are? Simple. He wished it so. He stumbled upon the Dragon Balls. Information about them was probably what C6 was researching. I would even wager it was shortly after finding one of them that he got stuck in that collapse. Dr. Brief frickin' left C6 there like that horse from Neverending Story. Artax, no! From there, he just gathers the rest of them, calls up old Shenron and asks for
the world's most comfortable pair of ultra soft...
everyone to forget who he is. And then poof, He has to know about them. How else did she find that one in her basement? Who do you think helped her research to learn about the wishes? If knowledge about these magic items were public, there would be a lot more people looking to get them, huh? Invents a $1 billion storage system, has a genius successor, and then lives the rest of his life in quiet glory. That's right. I said glory. Because he knows how his species ends. He knows what the Saiyans do because he outlives them and likely hears about it, especially from his proud son-in-law. And that right there is his checkmate. Because Bulma's no fool herself. She knows who she is. And she knows where she came from. Revenge was always the plan, and it began with her taming Goku, one of the last surviving Saiyans. Upon meeting him, she immediately conveys dominance over him. She can pretend to be dumb and not know he's a Saiyan, but we know better. She knows what he can do. Why else would she be constantly throwing him in harm's way? Even she isn't so mean that she'd just throw a kid into a situation that he couldn't survive. And then along comes Vegeta, the self-proclaimed Prince of the Saiyans, and thus begins the long, slow chess game. If she conquers the king, then she usurps the entire race, taking her home planet back for her people and her children, who she has given the insane genetics of a Saiyan Tuffle hybrid. Why do you think future Trunks is such a legend? The perfect blend of bronze and brains. You can disagree, but explain to me then why Bulma has literally every other character in the show at her beck and call. The Saiyans fear her, just like she wanted. Bulma is the perfect revenge for the Tuffles, the true Queen of the Saiyans, and Planet Vegeta. All hail Queen Bulma, a strong, proud, and wise ruler who has literally backhanded a god that other gods fear. That is why she was your first anime crush. The only way to debunk my theory is to tune in next time on Dragon Ball Super. Critically yours, The Fox.